Hi, I'm Tracy, VE3TWM. Thank you for tuning in to Outdoors on the Air. The forecast for Field Day 2023 was a little less than glorious, so I made sure to pack gear suited for those conditions. Given the threat of multiple thunderstorms through the weekend, I knew I had to bring a walled shelter to protect myself from the elements. I have a few shelters in my collection, ranging from a simple tarp to a 4-walled, fully enclosed shell. But when it came down to it, the one I chose to use was my new Eureka No Bug Zone screen house. That shelter has 4 walls to keep bugs out, but the walls are huge screens to let cooling breezes through. I made the decision to test this one to see how it would perform in the adverse conditions. As soon as I arrived at the site, I set to putting up the shelters as my first priority. Just as I was finishing up, the son of the hosts arrived on site. Winton is a very pleasant young man, and I quickly enlisted his willing support to help me put up the N9SAB 40-10 G5RV that was to serve as my primary field day antenna. After a few tosses with the paracord and arborist throw bag, he had the line up about 35 feet on a handy tree. Soon thereafter, my host Valerie, her husband Steve, and family friend Donovan arrived to help get the other end of the antenna up at a similar height. Keep going. All right, a little bit more. What do you think, Steve? Does that look like it's roughly horizontal to you? I mean, given the fact that there's going to be a little bit of a slope on it.
No, it looks pretty good.
Okay, here at the field day site, I am hand holding the camera. I'm going to try to be very, very slow as I move this around. I am at one of the prettiest sites for field day that I've ever had, and I'm going to be chomped on a little bit by mosquitoes as I'm going here. You might see some jerking in the camera. I'm really going to try to keep it steady. But not only is it picturesque, it's got this stream running along one side, but it's long and it's wide open, and it has tall trees for tying off antennas too. This is a really cool site, and it's actually long enough. I didn't bring one, but if I had an antenna, a dipole for 160 meters, I could put it up here, no problem. This is the first time I've ever stayed at a campsite that gave me that kind of real estate. So I'm just gonna walk down. I'm at the far south end, just walking up towards the north here. And just to give you an idea of the breadth of this. So really nice site. It does have a bit of a limitation here, and I'm gonna show you that in just a moment as we get up to that point. But here you can see, I've got 2 shelters set up, and it's just me out here this weekend. The first one is my new to me, well, it's new, I guess, No Bug Zone screen house. And this is the one I'm using for the operating position. I'm sorry about the jerking here. It is what it is, I guess. And over on the far side of it, I've got my 5-man tent that I'm using for sleeping. Rained yesterday, fortunately, after I got the shelter up, after I got both shelters and the antenna. By the way, this is really nice. The people that rent this site, they're part of an organization. They use an organization called Hip Camp. That's sort of like hippie and camp, all put into one word, Hip Camp. There's a website. They have, it's essentially Airbnb for campsites on private land. Really cool. I found this site a couple of years ago. I wanted to come out here last October for CQ Worldwide, but apparently it floods in rainy weather, which we often get here in southern Ontario. And I am in southern Ontario, southwestern Ontario, actually, somewhere west of Kitchener, Ontario. So this is on a farm, but it's a secluded corner of the farm. Now up here you can see a pathway, and I'm just going to walk a little bit further along so you can see up the path. And the path goes uphill about, I'm guessing it's about 40 feet. And that's where my car is. It's a sort of a mucky track, so I can't bring the car down here. So I was schlepping stuff up and down yesterday, but I'm used to schlepping, so not too much of an issue. But there it is. But now you get an idea. Okay, as pretty as this site is, I'm actually set down into a depression around the within the surrounding landscape for about 40 feet. So that's going to be potentially a bit of an issue as far as getting my signal out, because of course you want to be on the highest piece of land available. Here's a good look at the N9SAB 40 through 10 G5RV. This is a 51-foot antenna, so it will fit into compact areas where a full-size 40-meter dipole might not. It achieves this magic due to a length of twin lead that dangles down from the feed point. The twin lead is actually part of the antenna and therefore radiates. Tim also sent me a choke, which I installed at the feed point of the two radiators. That was a mistake, but I'll have more information on that in a future video focusing in on this antenna. My choice of rigs to start the contest was the SGC SG2020. I really wanted to see how this transceiver would function in the demanding conditions that come with field day. Okay, it is 1:51 Eastern, which means it's 9 minutes until field day. Just a couple of notes here. Number one, I like to listen to WWV as we get closer to the countdown. I got it going at 10 megahertz here. It's coming in a pretty good signal. So my exchange for field day is 1 Bravo, 1 station, and operating on battery power, 1 Bravo, and my section, my geographical area, name as designated by the Radio Amateurs of Canada, which is Canada's equivalent to the ARRL in the US and the RSGB in the UK, and I'm sorry I've forgotten what they call it in Australia. So I am Ontario South, ONS, Oscar November Sierra. So if you hear me use the exchange 1 Bravo, Oscar November Sierra, that's what I'm talking about. So essentially field day is this rapid exchange of these exchange. Jeez, I could have worded that better. And then on to the next one. Strategies for me, just testing out the G5RV here. I'm going to start off on 40. I'm going to go from top to bottom. I'm running 15 watts on the SG2020. I'm not running a high power station. I don't have the battery power to do that. I've got two 10 amp hours. I've got one 20 amp hour. I'm starting with the 10 because I want to see, hey, what kind of battery life will I get out of the 10 with the SGC running at 15 watts. So I'll start off there. I'll start off 40 meters. I'll start low in the band. I'm going to do some hunting and pouncing as I hear stations, and then move up to the higher bands. I'll check out 20 and hope like heck that 10 and 15 are open. If 15 is open, that'd be great. If 10 is open, even better. It's so much easier for low-powered stations to get through on the higher bands. But it's going to be interesting. Oh, and with the proliferation of 1 Delta stations due to the ARRL's change of the rules, which I, here's the deal. I'm not a fan of, and the reason I'm not a fan of it, because field day is supposed to be not a contest, but an emergency preparedness exercise. How in God's name are you preparing for an emergency if you're sitting in the coziness of your home shack, air conditioning, commercial power? I don't get it. Maybe somebody can explain it to me in the comments below, but to me, a 1 Delta station hanging out on a frequency and calling CQ Field Day is and lots of them are kind of obliterating the low-powered stations who have actually gone to the trouble to set up in the field. Okay, I'm going to start making some contacts here, and wish me luck. Victor Echo 3, Tango, Whiskey, Mike.
Whiskey, Mike, station, go ahead.
Victor Echo 3, Tango, Whiskey, Mike.
I copied Victor Echo 3, Tango, Whiskey, Mike, QSL.
QSL, please copy 1 Bravo, Oscar November Sierra.
Okay, 1 Bravo, Oscar November Sierra, QSL.
QSL.
Okay, got you. The book 7-3.
Thank you. Good luck.
Okay, QRZ from Whiskey 3, Victor Papa Radio.
Victor Echo 3, Tango, Whiskey, Mike.
Victor Echo 3.
Victor Echo 3, Tango, Whiskey, Mike.
Tango Whiskey question mark.
Victor Echo 3, Tango, Whiskey, Mike. Tango, Whiskey, Mike.
VE3 TWM. Thank you. We are 4 Alpha MDC. 4 Alpha Mike Delta Charlie. QSL.
QSL, please copy 1 Bravo, Ontario South, Oscar November Sierra.
QSL, you're 1 Bravo, Oscar November Sierra. 7-3. Good luck.
7-3, good luck.
Okay, this is KD8NOM. Kilo Delta 8 November Oscar Mike. Field day.
Victor Echo 3, Tango, Whiskey, Mike.
Victor Echo 7 TWM. Thank you. We are 3 Alpha. 3 Alpha. We are in Ohio. How copy?
Correction on my call sign, please. It's Victor Echo 3, Tango, Whiskey, Mike. QSL?
Yes, thank you. Station VE3 TWM. We are 3 Alpha. 3 Alpha. We are in Ohio. How copy?
Thank you very much for the 3 Alpha in Ohio. Please copy my 1 Bravo in Ontario South, Oscar November Sierra. QSL?
Can you repeat that, please?
Certainly. 1 Bravo, Oscar November Sierra, Oscar November Sierra.
Okay, thank you. Station VE3 TWM. Thank you, and 73.
7-3, you're doing a great job. Keep going.
You are good.
Okay, just an update. It is now 2:41. I've got 11 contacts in the log and thunder. I'm hearing thunder. I'm going to ride for a little bit here, see if it'll blow over. But I may have to pull the plug and let the storm ride through. You know, they're saying it's slow-moving thunderstorms. I'm just hoping that I'll skirt the edge of it, because last thing I want to do is hole up. Yeah, I don't know if you're hearing that, but that sounded kind of close. So if one comes in closer than that, I'm going to pull the plug for a little bit. Okay, I have shut down the station. I ran up to the car. I got a tarp. If this thing is going to blow through and it's really going to team down rain, I want to be prepared, so I'm just going to make sure I've got the tarp here just to lay out everything. Lay over top of everything so it doesn't get wet. This is kind of a new experience for me. I've been through a thunderstorm in the past, but there's something about this one that I'm a little bit nervous about. But having said that, I do think that there's plenty of tall trees around. I am not the highest point in the landscape. I think I'm going to be, I'm not going to have an issue with lightning, but it's more like the torrential downpour in a screen house like this one, where it could be a very wet environment, because this greenhouse is designed for sunny weather, maybe the odd passing shower, but certainly not anything heavy duty. So yeah, gonna see how this one works out. Well, it's about 45 minutes after those I shut down due to the thunderstorms. They abated a bit. I took a look at the lightningmaps.org site, and there are some that are about 10 kilometers off to the west, which means they could potentially be coming my way. But they're moving very slowly, if so, and I'm not hearing them anymore. I'm not hearing the thunder anymore.
Kilo November 4 Sierra again.
It's 6:54 Sunday morning.
Sunday
morning is typically a really good time to make extra contacts. After the thunderstorm passed yesterday, we had a big storm blow through around 7:30, lasted for almost 45 minutes. I bailed back into the tent because everything got wet in here. I had to cover up and pack stuff up. Came back out. Bottom line is, so after 50 contacts, I swapped out the SG 2020. I'd had a good run with it, 50 contacts, all at 10 watts. Decided to bring out the FT 897, and I am currently, and I set the FT 897 at 10 watts. I'm currently at 92 contacts, so this is the final push to try to get to 100. Hopefully I can get there, and then I need to start packing down because mid-morning the forecast is for rain. So up and early, make the contacts, get to where I want to get to, pack stuff down, and then be on my way home.
Is that Victor Echo 3 Tango Whiskey Mike?
QSL.
Please copy 2 Foxtrot, Tennessee.
Copy 2 Foxtrot, Tennessee. Please copy 1 Bravo, Oscar, November, Sierra.
Okay, what is your class though? Your section is Southern Ontario. What is your class?
1 Bravo, 1 battery.
IQSL to 1 Bravo. Thank you very much for Ontario South. Good morning. QSS Field Day, Kilo Nancy 4 Delta Uniform Alpha. Thank you, Field Day. Whiskey 1 Victor Echo. WD1 Victor Echo. Field Day. Thank you, Field Day. Thank you, Field Day. Whiskey 1 Victor Echo. WD1 Victor Echo. Field Day.
Victor Echo 3 Tango Whiskey Mike.
3 Tango Whiskey Mike. You're 1 Delta Vermont.
Copy 1 Delta Vermont. Please copy 1 Bravo, Ontario South.
Thank you. Whiskey 1 Victor Echo. Field Day. W2 RTM.
Victor Echo 3 Tango Whiskey Mike.
Where is that ending in Whiskey Mike?
Victor Echo 3 Tango Whiskey Mike.
Okay, Victor Echo 3 Tango Whiskey Mike. Whiskey 1 Echo Echo, we are 2 Alpha Connecticut, 2 Alpha Charlie Tango.
Copy the 2 Alpha Connecticut. Please copy 1 Bravo, Oscar, November, Sierra.
Okay, QSL, 73, good luck.
Thank you, good luck. So it's Sunday morning, what time is it now? 7:33. I've just made my 102nd contact, and I'm going to pull the plug now. Last night's weather forecast called for sunshine to begin the day, but then rain showers by mid-morning. There's nothing worse than packing up a lot of gear all by yourself in the rain. So you know what? I made 100 contacts, 102. 50 of which were on the SG 2020, 52 of which were on the Yaesu FT 897. The G5RV worked very well. Everything was at 10 watts. I was at 10 watts. I was hunting and pouncing. It's literally the worst situation. And I'm in a depression with regard to the surrounding landscape. Literally the worst situation you could have when you're putting up a wire antenna, low power, you don't have the advantage of elevation. So 102 is something I'm actually pretty impressed with. I remember a field day that I did, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago now, where I made 99 contacts with my FT817 at 5 watts. Now, the difference between 5 watts and 10 watts is negligible. Nobody's ever going to be able to tell a difference at the far end. So it's kind of nice to be able to move past that 100 mark. The gear worked well. I didn't have any failures. So you know, the one thing that I did learn from an overall gear perspective is this screen house. Not great in a downpour. You know, it poured like heck last night at 7:30, and most things in there got soaked. So next time rain is in the forecast, I will opt for my other shelter, the one I used last year for the CQ Worldwide. And it's got partially covered walls with covers that come down over the screen section. So you don't have the flow of air through, but at least you're not as susceptible as getting everything soaked as a lot of things were last night. That's it. My field day 2023. A beautiful location, lots of mosquitoes. That was a bit of a bummer, but it is what it is, and that's where you bring shelters. Beautiful location. I'm actually just going to turn the camera around and show you the creek here. It's so pretty right now. Getting some rare sun. Didn't have a lot of it this weekend, but I'm looking at this as a great success. Had a lot of fun. Got to experiment with a new antenna. Tim N9SAB, make sure you look up his antenna store on eBay. I'll leave a link in the description below. Always makes great stuff, and of course the weather was no problem at all for Tim's antenna. Never has been for any of the antennas that I've used from him. So look for some upcoming stuff on the channel that have to do with this trip here. You know, review of the SGC 2020. I'm going to show you a few things about how I pack my individual rigs, and more. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate all your support. Please let me know how your field day went. Leave a comment below. I read them all and respond to as many as I can. But now it's your turn. Get out of the shack, get outdoors, and get on the air. 7-3 from Tracy, VE3 TWM.